Hey!
Hi, this is Dr. Christine.
And Dr. Colin.
And we are your co-hosts for the exciting new podcast called
Love, Scrubs, and Stories,
where we dive deep into the world of dating and relationships and go beyond the people wearing the white coats, the scrubs, and the stethoscopes.
Come join us on this journey where we engage in dialogue and share stories of love, heartbreak, resilience, and triumphs. And we also navigate our professional lives with our hearts on our sleeves.
Please remember to subscribe and hit the notification button to stay up to date on all future episodes.
And we look forward to seeing you inside.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey guys, thank you so much for coming on to the Love, Scrubs, and Stories podcast. I am Dr. Colin Zhu, and I am joined by my lovely co-host.
I am Dr. Christine Nguyen, and we're very excited today to talk about a very heartwarming story that we want to share with you all.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out. Guys, if you have not listened to our podcast before, this is a podcast for sharing many untold stories and conversations of healthcare professionals and their journeys of love, heartbreak, and resilience. And this is for everyone in the world of medicine, whether you're in a single or committed relationship or just anything in between. So thank you so much for joining us. And, you know, Christine, I always love a good love story and, you know, everything that comes along with it, whether it's on screen, off screen, you know, all the warm, fuzzy feelings that come along with it. Do you have, you know, someone in mind, whether it's fictional or non-fictional, that, you know, you just say to yourself, you know what, I resonate so much from this because of X, Y, and Z elements? And who is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love a good story? I am such a hopeless romantic. And so when I think, and you know, whenever I hear about a love story, it really warms my heart. And there are a lot of really great examples out there. And certainly, I think one that actually comes to mind, like right now, is actually a celebrity couple that I adore, and I know a lot of us adore. And it's Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Are you familiar with them and their love story? Aside from the fact they're absolutely, you know, drop dead gorgeous couple and, you know, with beautiful children. But I think it's the way that they approach their relationship that, you know, I think is really amazing. The way that they're able to support one another, how they're able to bring a lot of fun into the relationship and make fun of each other, you know, in a very sweet, cute, endearing way that I just think is so sweet. And I could only hope to have a relationship like that.
Yeah, what's interesting about them, from the little that I know, is that they actually kind of were friends. They knew of each other. They were friends beforehand, and they actually double dated each other, but they were with two separate people at the time. And they're both in the movie industry, and they just kind of came together, you know, afterwards once they, you know, individually became single. And I think what I love about that couple is because, you know, I think Ryan publicly makes fun of her a lot, and
Yes,
she has
so
the ability to take it well and not take it personally. And I think that's important, you know, because, you know, laughter is the best form of medicine, in my opinion. And so when you can insert that, you know, in a couple relationship, I think that goes a long way. Yeah, I love that couple as well.
How about you, Colin? Is there a couple in, you know, perhaps in your life that you really admire and could only wish to, you know, down the road soon to have a relationship similar to theirs that you could really respect and emulate?
I do. They're more of a, you know, there are people that I know of personally. They're not a celebrity couple just yet. And, you know, they're a couple of, I think they've been going on for at least a decade. They've been going out with each other. And I'm actually attending their wedding this week at the time of this, you know, at the time of this recording. And so, you know, I think they met during college, you know, in Berkeley, if I'm not mistaken. And she's in the entertainment industry, and he, I believe, if not mistaken, in information technology. He's gonna kill me. But they're very fun. They have very similar interests. They're both vegan and plant-based like me, and they love to laugh. They work very well as a team. They're very courteous to each other. They respect and admire each other. And again, you know, they work together really well as a team. And I love that, you know. They're very good looking people. And, you know, I can tell that they are they kind of come to the table as complete selves. And I love the opposite concept of showing up, not looking for your better half, but showing up, just being able to share your world as complete individuals. And that's what they represent to me. So that's who I admire.
I love that. So showing up as their individual selves, and then having that other person complement you and your life and the amazing person that you are. And then together as a couple, you can elevate one another to an even, higher space.
Exactly.
So that's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. I really love that story. And, I'm a sucker for love stories. And we have a love story today to share with our audience. And it's a love story with a couple that is actually in, my own community, the White Coat Romance Facebook community that, I actually interviewed them over a year ago. And since then, we've had some new developments. So I do know a little bit about them, but I would love to, hear more about their story since then, and also to share with our audience, because when they first shared their love story, it brought a lot of hope to everyone in the group. Because, at times, being single, especially, during the quarantine, it was very, very tough for everyone. And so in just even the modern dating world, a lot of single folks have really lost hope about being able to find their person. So, before I get too far into this, let me introduce them. It's our wonderful couple is Dr. Krystol O'Rourke and Dr. Renard Sessions. And so let me kind of briefly introduce each one of them. Dr. O'Rourke, she began her career as a family medicine physician in 2000, eventually landing in urgent care as a path to her second career in floriculture. How amazing is that? She's semi-retired from medicine now with her own business. She enjoys creating beauty in the landscape. She spent her formative years in Texas and now calls North Carolina her home. Other hobbies and interests include horsemanship, working on her garden tractor, which we'll hear a little bit more about, and home improvement. She has a son headed to college and 2 cats still in the nest. I think you can only love her already, right? Especially you, right, Colin, with your adorable cat. Yes. Dr. Renard Sessions is a senior level part-time flaneur. So that's a new word for me. We'll have to ask him to elaborate on that. An anesthesiologist and financier, a Florida man born and educated. He's lived in Texas and Oregon, Japan, and now North Carolina. So we'll hear about, how that led to North Carolina, where Krystol's at. 2 of his 3 children graduate college this year, and one more to go. He enjoys learning and working with his hands, particularly on all things mechanical. He spends an inordinate amount of time remodeling homes and can often be seen running errands on a bicycle to stay sane. The motorcycle is there when the need for insanity hits. So 2 very accomplished professionals that have come together, and I'm so ready to bring them on and hear their love story. How about you, Colin?
Right.
What do you? That's quite exciting.
Let's bring them on. So here we go. Hey, everyone.
Hello, hi, Krystol, Renard.
Hi.
Welcome to the Love Scrubs and Stories podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Just can't be more excited to share your love story. Was there anything else that you'd like to add to the bio that we did? That I'm not sure we did enough justice there, but I know there's so much more that we can say to each one of you. But actually, you know what, Renard, if you don't mind, flaneur, you'll have to elaborate on that because that's a new word for me.
So I came across it in a book I read about a year or 2 ago, and I thought this is like the epitome of what all physicians should strive for. Because, so often we work ourselves to death, and, families are tough, jobs tough, everything about it's hard. And in the late 1800s, there's a French author wrote that there's a person called a flaneur who literally just strolls around town, doesn't really seem to have any concerns, gets to know everybody and enjoys life with no real stress. And I think it was kind of an insult, but to me, it sounds like kind of the perfect living. I mean, why work yourself to death? I mean, so it's really, I don't know, it hit. I like it. So.
I like it. Thanks for introducing me to a new word. That's what we all want to strive to be, right? To reach that level where, where we have the, have the option. Yeah. I love it. So I thought, it would be fun. I mean, it's something that we ask all of our guests when they join the podcast as an icebreaker to share a medical pickup line as an icebreaker. So that would be fun. So Renard, I'm going to put you on the hot seat here. Okay. And so, I mean, no, this is not the way that the two of you met. Let me just create this scenario. Okay. So you're at a supermarket, you're strolling along the aisles, and then all of a sudden you spot this drop dead gorgeous woman. Okay. And you're like, ooh, now how do I put the moves on her? What line would you use as a medical pickup line?
Well, we're not going to hit on just anybody. So it has to be somebody that clearly appears intelligent and, with it. I mean, they're not in there just dorking around. So you got to move it fast,
Krystol.
right?
Krystol is
Right.
hanging out in the aisles.
What I'm thinking.
She's kind of eyeing you a little bit there. So, you're like, okay, I think we're on the same wavelength here. So how do I put
I've
the moves
always
on
wanted
her?
to use a medical pickup line. So we're going to try. Hey, baby,
Do it.
I'm from anesthesia and I've got a dose of love. Can I take your breath away? Baby, be supportive.
On a scale, okay, Krystol, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is like, bum, and 10 is like, woo, here's my number.
I think that might garner an eye roll, honestly, but
I'm going over to the tortilla aisle. It's okay. I accept it.
Not that I could do any better, but good effort. I don't know.
All right.
We all appreciate that.
Well,
let's flip this around. Okay. So we're Krystol, you are in the home improvement section. And Renard, he loves all things mechanical, right? So, he's in there doing his thing. He's checking out, all these different tools and equipment, and you have no clue what to do, right? And you are asking, you need to look for help, but there's no one there. There's no one employed to help you out. So you go over to Renard, who you have just, gazed on, and you need to ask him a question. So how would you get his attention?
Let's see. I actually, rather than medical, I think I'm more apt to make some sort of home improvement joke, like, I'm looking for some batteries. I really need a charge, or something ridiculous like that.
I love that. I love that.
Man, that works. Because if you're talking to me, I'm covered in dirt. I've got flip-flops on, and I probably just rode there on my bike. So I'm going to call that interest.
I love that. Thank you guys for playing along with that. So yeah, let's dive into your love story. And I know how it started, but I thought it'd be fun for the audience if you'd like to share with us, like from the very beginning, whoever wants to take it away and start about how you guys even got to know to one another and
the origin story of your love story.
So I'm not sure exactly how I was introduced to White Coat Romance, but somehow ended up snooping around on there and was enjoying the community because there are a lot of younger people, a lot of people in their first kind of serious relationship or looking for that serious relationship. And I am a little bit older and more experienced and have had several long-term relationships. And so it's kind of fun to see what people were thinking and maybe how I could help them. And there were a few people my age there. And so I thought I would, at Christine's encouragement, actually, I think she encourages everyone to make a profile. So I did. And honestly, I didn't think I would attract much attention because I'm a little different than many physicians in my hobbies and my personality. And so anyway, I wasn't real hopeful, but I thought, well, I'll put this up there. And in my profile, I showed a picture of myself with a carburetor that I had rebuilt from my vintage garden tractor, Rosie. And I said, if anyone can guess what I'm holding, you get a bonus point or a prize or something like that. So one woman chimed in and Renard chimed in. So that's how we first met.
Yeah.
Was the woman any close? The one that responded?
Close by?
No, close in terms of the answer.
The answer.
Oh, yes, she was. Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And then Renard, what was going through your mind at that time when you saw Krystol's introduction post in the group?
Well, I had been on a locums assignment, and I was telling stories about trying to start dating again when you're 50. I'd been in a long-term marriage, and the guy there's like, dude, you got to go on White Coat Romance. Your story fits. Like this nonsense. Like I'd been offered like vodka for sex and all this other stuff, and my daughter was involved in helping me like with mitigate some of the disaster. So I'm like in the back. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm out. I'm done. And he says, no, go check it out. You'll like it. So I go check it out, and I lurk around for a while. In Krystol's post, she posted this very European picture also that her hair was up a little bit, her head was a little turned to the side, very coy. And I'm like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. And I would never have responded to somebody like that, obviously out of my league. But there was the carburetor, and I knew exactly what it was. So I'm like, oh, that's a carburetor probably from an older tractor. And
that was your end.
Yeah, it went really, really fast after that. Like we did some Zoom calls. We set up a time to go visit in Savannah, kind of halfway between Florida and Gainesville. And she got impatient and came down to Gainesville one weekend. And that was pretty fun. My, I wanted my daughter to meet her because my kids were living with me. And it was pretty awkward, but jetted very quickly and left us alone.
Wait, your kids met her, what, the first date, second date?
The very first time. Yeah, because I'd done the therapy and didn't trust myself and stuff like that. So honestly, I was using my kids as like filters. Because they were better at this stuff than I was. And so like, Beta's like messages me like, oh, she's fine, or something like that. And then jets and like, I have to be, somewhere else. So yeah, it was a really weak move, but on my part in hindsight, but it worked. So.
Oh, that's so cute. So now I actually remember some of these details. So this all started by May back in December of 2022. Yeah. Okay, when this all started.
2021.
Oh, 2021. Ooh, you're right. Yeah, thank you for the correction. Yeah, that's amazing. And so you guys, it started with an introduction post, and then Renard responded to your question, and then you guys took it offline and did some private chat, and then just kind of recognized that, hey, we've got something here and there's interest, and we want to meet up, And I know for you, Krystol, especially as a woman dating, right? Certainly we have, there's safety concerns that we often have. And so you're like, he seems like a legit guy, but
our friends are invasive. I can tell you that.
How do you know? What measures did you take before you felt comfortable meeting Renard in person?
So I have a friend who's a online sleuth. And so I put her up to it to check everyone out in his circle. And then that seemed legit, and her deep dive into his history. And then when I arrived, I, of course, had my phone share location on to all my friends. Right. And I took a picture of his driver's license and license plate, and I sent that to my friends. And
we're not even talking about a car accident here.
Right.
The insurance, the whole nine.
Our first conversations, when we first started talking, we chatted a little bit back and forth, but our first real conversation, we did a Zoom date with wine. Mm-hmm. And I shit you not, it was like an interrogation. It's like, what's your credit score? Have you ever been arrested? What does your family do? Where do they live? What are they going? What's going on? Why did you move?
So did that totally creeped you out, or were you like, you know what, or did it have the opposite effect? She is serious about this, and she genuinely is wanting to get to know you, but at the same time wanting to be reassured that you are who you say you are, right? Because unfortunately there's there's cases of catfishers and scammers out there, and so you just need to know.
No, it was exhausting, but it did really put me at ease, because I'm like, okay, she's not screwing around, she's serious about this. We're not going to do 5 years of texting or something like that. It's either going to work and we're going to find out quickly, or it's not, and we'll also find out quickly. So
we're old. We don't have any time to waste.
Goodness.
Gotta get on it.
I mean, it's obvious that neither one of you, neither person is playing games, right? So what
Right.
did she find out about you? We got credit scores, right? From the assignment.
Yeah, I don't know.
Criminal background.
I tried to tell
one
her
of her
some
skeletons.
stories. Yeah, I mean, like I have some sketchy moments. Like my family, my dad and I shut down I-75 several times with out of control brush fires, and I mean, I have run from the police a few times, so I've never been caught. So, but being on a bicycle makes it a lot easier to get away. Just as a note, if you want to stay healthy. So, I mean, that all in the past, but like none of that scared her. So. That was good.
The Love, Scrubs, and Stories podcast is a collaboration and co-production between the Chef Doc and White Coat Romance.
The Chef Doc is a wellness platform that offers innovative approaches to thriving and offers a self-empowerment book, podcast series, on-demand masterclass series, as well as a brand new app. The app provides self-guided education such as food as medicine, self-care, and resilience. Coaching services are also available, whether you prefer one-on-one or group type settings. Please go now to your app store as well as Apple as Google Play to download for free.
White Coat Romance is a dating app for healthcare and health-related professionals and students in the US and Canada. It's a lively space where you can find love, companionship, and build meaningful connections with like-minded professionals. If you're single, go to the App Store and Google Play to download and join our vibrant community.
As we both serve these amazing communities, we also acknowledge the value of continuing education. Therefore, we're super excited to share an enticing opportunity with our listeners. Our episodes are continuing education eligible. That's right. You now have the opportunity to earn valuable credits while enjoying our content.
Rest assured, the episodes will always remain free as we are committed to supporting our communities and amplifying the voices of healthcare professionals. To get a better understanding of how this works, the first 3 episodes are free to obtain, then the rest of the podcast episodes are at a nominal cost.
So you might be asking who can earn credits? Well, physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners, physicians associates, pharmacists, dentists, as well as dietitians and dietetic technicians.
If you find yourself in need of CE credits, we kindly ask you to consider directing your CE funds towards supporting our cause. Your contribution would greatly help us nurture our podcast production and continue to bring you valuable content.
We are deeply grateful for your support. From all of us here at Love, Scrubs, and Stories podcast, thank you so much for choosing us.
And enjoy the rest of this episode.
So my question for you guys is, what combination in terms of chemistry versus and or compatibility that helped to kind of accelerated things for you guys, right? Because 2021 to the time of this recording, 2023, is pretty quick turnaround in all things relative, right? So and being that this is your latter types of relationship, what do you think accelerated that for you guys?
Well, Colin, like you were talking about before with the couple that you admire, and that they show up with who they are and what they like to do, and they're not, or I don't know them, but that's what we did. And we're not expecting anyone to conform and like what we like or take on our personality or anything like that. But what I was looking for specifically was a partner who already likes a lot of the same things that I do, so that they're not either trying to learn to like what I like, or they're not so bored with the things that I like to do that they're in their own room doing something else. So that's something I've learned over my lifetime, and I feel that's really important. And I feel that's why Renard and I are so compatible, because we do have many of the same interests, not all of the same interests, but we have enough that we can do things together that we both enjoy doing. And neither of us has had to change or become something that we weren't.
Yeah, I think too, also, like for me, trust was a big issue. Like coming from, a long-term relationship, I was really, kind of terrified of getting back into a relationship. And Krystol's very forthright with, herself and where she's been and where she is. And, I liked it. It was a little bit crazy. I mean, she's, a very colorful person. And so that was very appealing, but also just the know that, like, I mean, she said repeatedly, like, look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I mean, all we can do is try. And that takes the stress level way, way down. It made it a lot easier. I mean, because the timeline, we talked the first time in December by message, and then by May I'd moved.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
It was pretty quick. Yeah, I was
That
like,
was really
what am I doing?
quickly the relationship progressed. So what was it about the other person, for this is for each one of you to answer, that, like, how did you know, right? I mean, that what were the qualities in each other that really stood out to you, that made you realize, I see something here that can go the distance?
Yeah,
you go ahead.
Well, she's smart. I mean, she's one of the most intelligent people I've met. So I think, and she's very driven. I mean, it's unusual that I meet people that like outwork me or not to be, that sounds really arrogant, but like she stays really busy all the time. Like I'm perfectly fine having some downtime and, relaxing, but I do, long hours and that sort of stuff. So I've worked a lot, but, Krystol was clearly like just on fire. I mean, she's always busy, always got something going. Don't give her an idea because you'll get the full assessment of it. I mean, you just got to be ready to commit because it's like, okay, we're going to make how many, job lists have we had now? Like, do y'all know what ClickUp is? It's like a job progress thing. We have weekly meetings where we go over projects and have to-do lists and things like that. She's slacking a little bit this last
Wow.
week. She's been busy, so I'm going to give her a little slack, but but like that's fun for me because like I know exactly what's expected of me. It's not just the projects and the things like like we're doing a kitchen remodel. It's not that kind of stuff. It's the whole relationship is that straightforward. You do if you're not meeting my needs, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you why. You don't have to guess what I want. If I don't say that something bothers me, it doesn't bother me, and that's really, I think, unique. I mean, I love that. Most people really try hard to be what they think the other person wants. And I think that causes more damage than, if you take care of yourself and you tell the other person what you need rather than, let them be the adult, let them take care of themselves and tell you what they need. And I don't know, it seems to work pretty good.
It sounds like that capacity to be open to receiving very good, effective communication. And then it sounds like your tolerance for, BS is very low for the both of you guys. So where you guys are like very direct and straightforward. And I think that combination is great, you know what I'm saying? For you guys to both show up as equal partners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember like one time I said something, like I'm very sarcastic. My family's very sarcastic. We use insults as a way of communication. And I said something, I can't remember what it was, but I said something to her. She's like, that hurts my feelings. Don't do that. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Nobody's ever said that to me before. And like, there's something different here. I mean, pretty cool.
and that's actually something new for me. In previous relationships, I did hold back a lot. Like I wouldn't, because I was worried it would hurt the other person to say something like, stop saying that. It's rude. And I feel so much freer for expressing myself, and I don't feel resentment building up like it can in relationships. I think when you hold back or you don't say things or you swallow things or you take something that maybe you shouldn't. So that's something I've myself worked on in the past 5 years or so. And I think it's really important going into a relationship to feel comfortable doing that. And also to, like Renard said, show up as yourself and take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So far what I'm hearing is, aside from, of course, the initial spark and the attraction towards one another, the ability to have very open and honest communication, a lot of common interests. We'll have to share some of your projects that you guys have worked on. It's quite amazing. And I know, Renard, like if I may add, he had mentioned before about being afraid of horses due to unfortunate incident in childhood, and Krystol loves horses.
Yeah.
And so you guys have been able to share some activities together and, move you beyond that. Yeah, which I think is such a beautiful thing when, couples come together. Not only do they have the common interests, but they're able to expose each other and allow each other to, gain even more interest in hobbies.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have hit a snag on the horses. I'm convinced her horse does not trust me.
You convinced her horses are not what?
her horse does not trust me. He always gives me the side eye and a little extra space. Like there's other horses in the barn. They have like a co-op where they have them all that like are no problem. They come up. Like I love working with the horses. I'm still pretty uncomfortable riding them, but like feeding them and taking care of them, like I really enjoy that because they have phenomenal personalities. But hers, who is probably the most sane horse out there, gives me a wide berth. So I don't know what to make of that.
Well, aren't they very perceptive and like energy sensitive?
Yeah,
Yes, they are.
I think he can smell my fear because that's the one horse I want to impress, right? I mean, like all the other ones, like I don't really care, but like I need to impress Red because, like, dude, come on, It's like,
Oh, that's so amazing. I mean, and then of course, as with all relationships, there are challenges along the way. And I think one of the most obvious one is you're both in two different states. Krystol, you're in North Carolina, Renard, you're in Florida. And so at what point did you decide, like, I really see something real here and it's time to take this relationship, further and progress it to where you are now, which please share with us.
Probably the Savannah trip we did. Like she went all out, arranged like a picnic in the park, and just like really. It sounds silly, but like did really nice things for me. So like it was just nice.
Why is that silly?
I don't know. Well, I mean, if you're not, everybody comes to it from a different road. But the it was unfamiliar territory, and it was, and so it was really like, okay, like what do I have to do now? How do I do it? And finally I realized like, no, it's not show. I mean, she just likes doing this stuff. And like another time I remember telling her that I like Helena Bonham Carter's like one of my favorite actresses. And so she sent me several pictures like with her hair done up and real dark and stormy like Helena. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. Like, that's it. I'm done. I mean, so yeah. And I mean, it was a good time. Like I say, my last child had gone off to school the year before, so I had stabilized. I'd done therapy and worked on myself a lot. So I felt like I was pretty close to ready for a relationship. So
and the market was really good for selling a house too.
Yeah, so that was I like money. So I had a real estate agent live down the street from me, and I'd been working on the house, and I had this really nice wood fence I built that. I told my neighbors it was my therapy fence, but it looked really good. My neighbor came over. She's one of the real estate agents in town. It was like, it's a modest 70s ranch house. And she's like, I can get you, 25% more than you paid for this house if you'll list it now. And I'm like, do it, sell it, because we'd been talking. And I mean, within a week and a half, it was sold.
Wow.
And, it was really fast. And of course, I still had projects ongoing that I had to wrap up. So like I think I was working on the pool plumbing, and there were a couple of trees that had died or something. I don't know, but like it was like full tilt. I'd stopped doing locums for a while to finish the house. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I used to do locums myself. So that's awesome. And you enjoy real estate like he does, Krystol?
Not selling real estate, but home improvement is, I guess. Yeah.
Well, in fact, I swore I'd never do it again. I didn't like it. Here I am.
But he was talking about the Savannah trip and me doing nice things for him. And one thing that we talked about and I brought to the relationship was the 5-star experience. And that's giving one another not only like a trip or a nice evening out or whatever, but we treat each other like you would be treated at a 5-star spa or a 5-star hotel, or, those little things that make you feel good and make you cared for. So that's something that I've never done before in a relationship. And I think I read it somewhere, but anyway, I think it really does make a difference to, get those little surprises, little handwritten notes or, that kind of thing. So.
I want to comment on that because as a guy, societally, we're always, kind of impressed upon us to make the first move or do the grand gesture, save the damsel in distress type of deal, right, Renard? And so I can imagine just feeling just as elated and flattered and even humbled by having a woman, do that, for us. It's almost like, your expression was like taken aback. And I would feel, I would feel similar too, and almost to the point of like, I wouldn't even know how to respond to that because it's so, atypical.
Right.
Oh,
Well, and as our relationship went along, I went back to my kids because again, they're like my sounding board. They're pretty level-headed. And I'm like, my daughter, I'm like, do you like her? And she's like, oh yeah, she's great. And I can't remember what else she said. It was something smart ass, but I got to my son and he's like, oh yeah, she's a phenomenal cook. Yeah. no problem. And I'm just,
how old are your kids, Renard?
Oh, I have 23, 22, and the last one's still in college at 20. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah, I got 2 out this year, so it's been a huge change. One of them's out in Texas working, and the other one's back here where he looks for a job. So he graduated from overseas, so it's taken a little bit to land on his feet. But
that's amazing. So it sounds like just the whole relationship has aligned on so many levels. And where are you both at today? I mean, I know about the big news. Would you like to share it with the audience?
Everybody. Well, first, let me say that she prefaced by saying this would never happen.
Yes, I was not planning on.
Like when I moved up here, this is not happening.
She said this is not happening. So let me just kind of tell the audience like a quick little piece. So when I interviewed you both at the end of February 2022 in the WCR Facebook group, you both were very, very practical. And I remember you saying, this is fun. Renard, I remember you saying like, you know what, interview us in a year. Whether we're together or not, like we'd love to do a follow-up interview. And I was like, wow, you're that confident, and I love that. So, okay, go ahead. Krystol, would you like to share where you both are at today?
Yeah, so
what's in store for both of you?
Renard gave me a ring.
Yay.
And
let's hold that a little closer. Let's check out that bling bling. I love that.
Sorry, I have paint on my hand from my
gorgeous.
So it is a ring, and so the blue stone is for me and the ruby is for Renard. So it's very special. He had it made by his jeweler. So
there's more to that too. I mean, I think that's hilarious. So the jeweler that I used is the one that made my first round of ring. Year like 30 years ago. And I go and I'm down visiting my mom and I see that he's still in business. And I'm like, I walk in and my mom needed something repaired or something like that. So we went and I'm like, you're still here. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, do you need anything? And I'm like, well, actually, I need another engagement ring. And I'm going to need more than a 25-year guarantee out of this one. So I'm going to need some promises here. So he assures me that this one will be better.
Yes. Yeah. So it's very exciting. And his lease at his apartment is up in November. So we'll be cohabitating as of then, maybe sooner. I don't know, depending on how it goes with his son.
I struggle with this. It's really hard to move in with somebody.
It is. That is a really interesting. You'll have to interview us again in 6 months.
I will. I love that you guys are open. You guys are so open about this. Thank you.
It's, for whatever reason, I have no trouble with the engagement and all the other stuff that comes with that. But I keep finding excuses to delay the move in, and
usually when people are married, they live together, my dear.
Yeah, so I'm looking for work closer, and right now I'm using the excuse that my son's home from college, so I have to protect him. But that's going to be and I think he's actually looking out for me, not the other way around. But
Oh, so sweet. I mean, you guys, maybe you should have your own reality show. You keep offering the interview. I'm like, maybe I think that'll be really fun. Yeah.
It's been really exciting. I mean, our biggest struggle right now is probably finances and how we handle that sort of stuff going forward, because again, Krystol's rightly so very independent and, is used to being responsible for herself and all that sort of stuff. And there's a pretty big, income discrepancy between anesthesia and, her business and practice. So it's tough. So it's just, but it's neat. It's fun. It's really fun to work through it because we're both pretty open. And so we talk about it and those conversations. Krystol usually gets pretty quiet. She gets pretty quiet after a while.
I love it. I love how you guys approach one another. And as much as we could have so many more things to talk about and hear more about your love story, unfortunately, we probably should wrap this up. Okay. Colin, unless you have any other questions or anything else that you'd like to ask?
My last question I was thinking was, whether you guys were previously married to a physician, before, and if not, was there any, I guess, hesitation or any other thoughts of like, oh, I'm marrying another, doctor or healthcare professional, and how much that weighed in? Did that make any difference for you guys?
I've never dated or been married to another medical person. So it's kind of nice actually, because that's another thing that we have in common. So there was no hesitation for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was apprehensive about it. I mean, I guess I'm always very, but no, I mean, dating somebody medical always kind of scared me, and then, I dated a couple of people that were medical for a very short period of time and didn't go so well. So I was a little concerned, but I mean, the carburetor, I mean, how can you? She seemed to have a very well-defined persona outside of medicine, so that was helpful.
Oh, so we thought we'd wrap this up by ending it with a set of rapid-fire questions. If you guys are open to playing along, just another great way to get to know both of you better. So what we'll do is Colin and I will alternate and just kind of come at you with questions, and you can both answer together. So I think it'll be fun. Okay, you don't have to think about it or anything like that. You guys ready to start?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. City or countryside?
Countryside.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just say it together. And then Colin, if you want to.
What is your go-to karaoke song for a cheesy serenade?
Eye of the Tiger. It's the only one I know all the words to.
I don't know any songs.
Right. So like we're kind of the same there. Neither one of us are real like music buffs. Like I like music, but
Sorry.
It's okay.
That's all good. Favorite vacation destination?
Bath, England.
Yeah, so I liked Iceland. I love Bath, but like we went on a trip together to Iceland, and it hit every single thing I could ever want.
It was fun. Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to share photos of that. That's so much fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the funniest nickname you've given each other for each other?
Special K.
Yeah. I call him Dr. Fox. So
her spirit animal's raccoon, so that's another one.
Oh, that's cute. So who's better at remembering special dates? Anniversaries, birthdays, memorable events?
Renard.
Oh, I was gonna say neither of us. But
yeah,
I do put Google reminders in the little calendar. So
yeah, I don't even do that. So
yeah. Well, like tonight's a great example. I mean, I call her. I'm like, hey, we're on in like 5 minutes, and she's like, oh crap, I'm painting. Let's go. But then, 5 minutes later, she's set. So.
All right. So you guys are on the dance floor. What is your go-to dance move? The sprinkler or the robot?
The robot.
Ooh, sprinkler.
Ooh, fun.
Oh, baby.
Nice.
Ooh, okay, fun. Last one for me. Favorite date night activity?
We actually have
Don't.
Rosé and Roundup, which is our garden walk in the evening where we pull weeds and drink wine.
Nice. That's definitely
I love that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's actually
so
fun.
you are attending Comic-Con. Last one for me is you're attending Comic-Con. What is your go-to cosplay costume?
Beast.
Ooh.
What did you say, Renard?
Beast.
Beast. Okay, from X-Men.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know any.
You don't have a superhero or a comic book?
Okay, Wonder Woman. How about Wonder Woman?
Yes, I love that.
I was going to say that because you get the truth out of anybody.
Yes, and the
Like,
magic lariat is pretty cool too.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
like
so no
I
lie
believe-
detector. Renard, she didn't do the lie detector on you. She just.
Oh yeah, no, she totally did. And she calls me out bullshit when I start talking about something that's uncomfortable. She was like, it's relentless. I can't hide from it. And it's being good, but it's take it off, please.
Oh, thank
That's
you
funny.
for playing along with us. We love hearing your love story. You guys are just so perfect for one another. Thank you for taking the time to come on the show and share with us, and also to our audience, especially for our single folks who are, have lost hope, especially with the modern dating world, what words of advice do you have, for folks who are single and wanting to, want to get to where you are at, that you think would be helpful for them, whether it's a mindset shift or, action steps to take, anything at all?
Yeah, I think being yourself is really important and standing in your space, and find someone that you're comfortable standing there with you. In other words, don't change yourself or how you act or how you look for anyone, because long term, that just leads to resentment and breakdown in their relationship, I think.
Very good.
Yeah, I think
that.
You absolutely have to put yourself out there, no matter how terrifying. And it's worth like really working on yourself first. If you're like, I really struggled. I mean, and there's no way you can be in a relationship with somebody if you haven't figured out what you are looking for and what your issues are. I mean, none of us are perfect. And some of us, have issues that are more apparent. Some are more deep seated. And until you kind of hammer some of that stuff out, at least work, get it going in a direction, then you're not ready, and it's tough. But when you are ready, I mean, and it goes really quick.
And I would say, don't be afraid to date a lot of people, to figure out because there's no failure. It's only, you might have a nice experience for a year or 2 years or 10 years. It's not wasted time. You're still having a good experience, and you're learning about how to relate to people and how to relate to yourself. So, don't feel like you have to go out and find the one right away, or that really any relationship is going to be forever and ever. I know that's maybe kind of jaded, but just enjoy the ride, and enjoy it for what it is.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Good advice.
Yeah, amazing pearls of wisdom. Thank you, both Krystol and Renard, for joining us today. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Hear you a lot, and the website a lot. Be here if it wasn't for White Coat Romance.
Yes.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. And either one of you, there are ways to reach out to you, and especially for you, Krystol, with your amazing business in landscape design, horticulture. What are the best ways to reach out to either one of you? Should anyone like to have questions that perhaps, that things you've shared about, that they would like some guidance?
Yeah, sure. Our Instagram handle is spade.and.sparrow, and you can message me through there. And our website is spadeandsparrowdesigns.com.
Awesome.
I'm on Facebook Messenger and Instagram, just my name. So
awesome. And we'll put those in the show notes when this airs. So guys, thank you so much for taking out the time. Your story.
Yeah.
The story is amazing. And I know that it's going to impart a lot of inspiration and a lot of encouragement, it's because sometimes we just feel like we're just spinning our wheels. We're just like trolling in the mud, and we're like, I just need to get out, from, hopelessness and despair of, romance. Just, I don't know, like romantic fatigue, in a way that we can sometimes get into.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And, on behalf of Christine and I, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you feel like this was a benefit for someone else, please let them know. And until then, please say goodbye to Krystol.
See y'all next time.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching and listening to this channel. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you felt like this was a benefit for someone else, please let them know as well.
As a reminder, this channel does not offer medical advice. All opinions expressed are ours and our guests only. It is for general informational purposes only and does not replace professional healthcare services. Please consult your own healthcare provider for any medical issues you may have.
Until the next episode, whether you're in and out of your scrubs,
please remember to love yourself and others and lead with kindness.
Bye.